Welcome to The Critique. We reviewed a transcript tearing down Candace Owens' claims that her vivid dreams about political infighting are basically prophecy.
Yeah, the energy is, it's definitely there from the jump. It comes out swinging.
Absolutely.
So our job is just to make sure that energy, really lands with authority. Let's start with the tone.
Right. So the material goes pretty hard on speculating about her mental state. You see phrases like, sounds like someone isn't well.
Off of meds.
Off of meds, or even suggesting a state of psychosis. And look, those lines get a reaction, for sure.
Oh, they do. But it's kind of a sugar hit, you know?
Exactly. A temporary one.
Yeah. So the reliance on psychological speculation and these, really derogatory labels risks sacrificing the author's own critical authority just for some momentary kind of low-hanging entertainment.
My only worry there is if you strip all of that out, do you lose the pun? Does it become too, academic?
No, I don't think so. It's about redirecting the pun. So the suggestion is to shift the focus from speculating on the psychology behind it all.
Her reasons, yeah.
Right, and instead do a really rigorous analysis of the impact. What are the logical consequences of presenting these subjective dreams as, actionable public facts?
So you're still attacking, but you're attacking the logic, not the person.
You're attacking the foundation of her argument. It's actually a much sharper edge.
So hitting her on the contradiction itself is more damaging.
Way more damaging. I mean, think about it. For example, you can focus on that inherent contradiction she creates. She says her deep knowing about Charlie Kirk.
It's not even a feeling, it's a prophecy.
Exactly. She says that's unchallengeable. But then, for the Wilkes brothers' dream, what's the fact check? An unverified text to her girl Mel.
Right.
That discrepancy is a massive logical vulnerability. It's so much more lethal to point that out than to just say she sounds off of meds.
And I guess we can apply that same idea to the Kanye West references. The material right now just kind of dismisses it.
Yeah, it says she's holding on to the past.
Right.
But reframing that is it's crucial. Instead of personal baggage, you analyze it as a calculated move, a branding move. She's trying to position herself with the anti-establishment cool kids.
The ones who don't pay any mind to their dreams. They just treat them as knowledge.
Precisely. So you critique the political strategy, the attempt to legitimize intuition over actual evidence. It's a much more sophisticated and, frankly, a more devastating line of attack.
Okay, that makes sense. A refined focus is more powerful. But that brings us to the next issue, which is structural clutter. There's stuff in here that just gets in the way.
Yeah, building on that point, structure is everything. And introducing a long, unrelated personal anecdote, it dilutes the whole argument. It breaks the flow.
It really does. I'm talking about the personal dream sequence.
The Kung Fu master?
Yeah, the legit dream of being attacked by kids with knives and defending himself in slow motion. It pulls the viewer completely away from the actual stakes, political backstabbing, financial power plays, and into this personal fantasy.
I mean, it's vivid. I'll give it that. I can almost see the slow motion kick.
Right.
But it's asking the audience to spend time caring about the critic's dream instead of Candace Owens' dream, which is the whole point. It's just a huge tangent.
I agree. The piece spends way too much time justifying why the presenter's own dream didn't happen, instead of just demolishing the idea that her dream is politically meaningful.
Exactly. So the suggestion here is pretty straightforward. Replace that whole self-defense fantasy with a much tighter, rhetorical hypothetical that actually mirrors the stakes of her claims.
So make the analogy quick, sharp, and, relevant.
And use it right after you summarize her whole, I dreamed this and I'm going to make it fact thing. Just condense the idea. Something like,
If I woke up at 4 a.m. having dreamed that, say, a political operative was being manipulated because of magnesium supplements, which is something she suggests for others, and I presented that as a prophecy, my integrity would be the issue, not the dream itself.
That's so much tighter.
It is.
And more importantly, the critique has to stop defending why the knife dream didn't happen and focus 100% on dismantling why her dream is being presented as politically important. That switch saves a ton of time and it really sharpens the focus.
Okay, so that leads us to the most powerful part of the material, which is the factual connection.
The Wilkes brothers.
This is the payoff. This is where those structural improvements really come into play. The critique brings up her second dream about Ben Shapiro being a chess piece.
It being sent out because the Wilkes brothers are freaking out.
Right. And the material does confirm the facts, that the Wilkes brothers fund PragerU. the Daily Wire.
Which is a crucial connection. But, and this is the key thing, the critique introduces this real-world connection, but it doesn't really capitalize on its significance.
How so?
Well, right now, it's treated like a detail, like a way to fact-check her dream. It's not treated as what it actually is, the dramatic crux of her entire political narrative.
Ah, I see. So the opportunity is to use this as the synthesis point. This is where you bring it all together after ditching the personal stuff. The fact is strong, but the way it's used is just too flat.
Exactly. You need to structure the Wilkes details so they serve as the climax. This is where you show how she is strategically fusing this private, unverifiable prophecy with public, very verifiable financial power structure.
That elevates it from her just being weird to this being a calculated political accusation.
A powerful, politically charged accusation, yes, and that's what demands serious analysis.
I can see that. The current version, it confirms the details she mentions, but it doesn't really dig into why she chose those specific powerful figures. It doesn't analyze how effective that attack actually is.
And that's the core vulnerability that the critique has to expose. You've got to highlight the stunning contrast she creates. She claims, I don't actually really know anything about the Wilkes brothers.
Right. And yet, her 4 a.m. prophecy just happens to pinpoint them as the source of executive fear at the Daily Wire.
Right. That juxtaposition, that's the whole game. Claiming spiritual ignorance while dropping very specific corporate dirt. That's the rhetorical move you have to dismantle.
And we also need to analyze the sent out analogy itself. That's a key part of her description.
Oh, absolutely. Framing Ben Shapiro as a mere piece being manipulated by his funder. I mean, that is a far more potent political attack than any personal insult.
She's using the dream to add this layer of spiritual authority.
It's like she's trying to invoke something like the Seven Mountain Man, lending this divine weight to what is, at its core, a high-stakes business and political fight. The core of the critique has to be, this is a very effective political narrative masquerading as dream interpretation.
And by exposing that strategy, the whole critique becomes much more significant.
Powerful, actionable takeaway.
Okay, that shift refines the whole piece. It goes from a takedown to a real dissection of political rhetoric. Let's summarize the main actionable points here.
Yeah, the goal is just to elevate the logical structure, maximize the persuasive power. So, first, enhance your authority by replacing all that psychological speculation with a sharp, logical analysis of her rhetorical strategy.
Second, tighten the focus. Get rid of the distracting personal anecdotes, especially that whole self-defense fantasy.
And third, you have to maximize the impact of that Wilkes brothers connection. Don't just use it as a fact check. Structure it as the critical climax to expose the sophisticated political nature of her prophecy.
These changes really shift the material from, I guess, personalized mockery to a much more surgical, strategic critique of a public narrative.
Exactly. So challenge yourself to implement these suggestions. The core is already there. It's strong. These refinements will just ensure that every single minute of airtime contributes directly to dismantling her argument and making your critique that much more persuasive.
We invite you to refine the material based on this feedback and submit it back in for a further review.
We look forward to seeing the update.